What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to talk about what's going on with the overall market and why we're looking relatively weak right now. Before I say anything about this, though, let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Anyways, when it comes to the market, we're actually breaking some critical support, and things are just not looking that great. We had some negative news involving the banks coming out as Fitch is threatening to lower the credit ratings for many of the banks like JP Morgan Chase. And then on top of that, China has announced that they cut rates because of the ongoing negative effects that we're seeing on their economy. Because of the fact that the economy is getting hit hard, they have to cut rates to offset the pain. And with all this going on, the market is once again not responding too well. So on SPY, here's some levels to watch for. Okay, we've broken below 444. Now we have 443.5 to 443.35. The entire zone right there is going to be our support because we have this previous low right here on SPY down at about 443.35. So this is going to be one of the support levels to watch for. Break that, and this thing is going to sink all the way down. I'm going to go back to TradingView when I show you this. So break this support right here, right? We still have the support zone. Break that, and this thing is going to sink all the way down to 442. That's going to be the next target if this thing does end up breaking those levels. And as resistance, we currently have 444, 444.5, 445, and then 446 above that. So we're going to be watching these levels. Unfortunately, the market's looking relatively weak with all this negative news. And we ended up breaking critical supports. I was warning you to watch these supports in case anything happens. I was also hoping we would see the market hold up a lot better. But unfortunately, all this bad news that came out and the new news about the banks that just came out is causing the market to slow down even harder than expected. And when this happens, right, we just have to watch support and see how the market responds. So we're trying to get back above 444 right now, but it still is not looking that great. We're going to be watching these supports carefully. And remember, if we keep breaking them, 442 has that unfilled gap, which is where the market could visit. For Tesla, we have some bad news for the bulls. Unfortunately, 235 has broken on Tesla. That tells us that this thing has the potential to hold or retest 233.76. If that fails us, watch 232.5, and then we have 230 below that for Tesla, which is likely going to come next if it continues to sink. Unfortunately, it's looking relatively weak right now. We're going to be watching this 233.76 area next as we have broken down. We're currently trying to get back above 235, but don't forget that things are still looking relatively weak on the 30 minutes time frame. And Tesla and the whole market are getting affected by the bank news, not to mention the Chinese news. So it is unfortunate. Things like this happen. There are some fears now basically emerging because of this. So watch these support levels. For resistance, you're going to be watching Tesla at about this level right about here. 235 is going to be the first level. Then we have 236.12, 237.5. Then we have 238.76. Unfortunately, those are some levels to watch for. On Aapl, it is also looking weak. 177.38 got tested, very close to this support right here. If that breaks, you're going to be watching this thing come all the way down to about 176.5, then 175. For resistance, you're going to be watching this thing at about 178. And then after that, we have the next level around 178.6. Then we have above that like 179. But if anything, Apple's looking relatively weak. 177 is going to be the key level now. If it breaks, 176.5 is on the table. But 178 could get retested as its resistance. So just watch these levels carefully. The triple Q is also breaking down, unfortunately. If this thing breaks this support right here at 366, which is actually not that bad, we're going to be watching this thing come down to 364.7. If that fails us, there's 363, 361, and then 360. Nvidia is at 441, which isn't that horrible. I was expecting Nvidia to come down to about 440. We actually bounced off 437. If this thing rejects and goes any lower below 437, you're going to be watching this thing at 435, and then below that we have 433 point, about 433 just flat. So we're going to be watching these levels. Resistance is at 442. If it gets above that, 445 is a possibility, but it looks very tight right now, not that great. Market is attempting to bounce a little bit, but like I said before, the trend is now not looking that great. A little bit more bearish for the time being. So watch your 30-minute MACD, and unfortunately, this bearish divergence on Nvidia is starting to play out. We saw this thing sink a little bit. So it is what it is. Things like this happen. We're going to be watching these levels carefully. The VIX actually got a nice bounce, and this was just a lot of trickery that was going on. You know, it still technically had this like head and shoulders like pattern that was playing out, and then it actually ended up getting a big bounce instead. So if it keeps breaking up This could invalidate this head and shoulders, and the market could continue to sink a lot lower. The market could remain weaker, but it all depends on our different levels, how we respond to them. All right, so we're going to be watching these levels. SPY is currently at 444.04. Watch how 444 holds. Watch our support below that in the 443s, and then see if the market could hold or not. See if the market gets some kind of bounce intraday as well. There's a possibility of that, but once again, we're at a much lower level than before. We're not looking too great. If we continue to break down, 442 is very, very possible. But once again, as the market is trying to hold up, watch the other resistance levels and just know the market is looking relatively weak. I'm not expecting it to go all the way up to like 448 or 447 today, but there will be an attempt to bounce in the afternoon. It's just that it's not going to be that strong. And we just have to be very unbiased and just look at the different things going on in the markets, watch our levels carefully, and do what you have to do to be as unbiased as possible. All right, so thank you for listening. Hopefully, this intraday warning was helpful. I want the best for everyone. I am sorry that sometimes, I can't predict the market. I know a lot of people try to. Nobody could truly predict the market every single day. That's why I oftentimes talk about different levels, such as these on SPY. I was constantly talking about 444. If that broke, that's not a good sign. If we hold above it, that's something else. But if anything, I was hoping we would get a bounce, but it just didn't happen that way with all this negative news coming out involving China and these unexpected things. So things like this happen. It's part of the market, it's part of the game. Nobody could be right every single day. But the best thing we could do is grow from our mistakes, keep continuing to improve, admit our mistakes, and just look at the market in a very unbiased lens when the time is right. All right. So thank you for listening. Have a great day, everyone. Remain calm, cool, and collected, and I will talk to you guys later on. Thank you and peace out.